Hey, it's Neill the Prove It Guy, and we're just over halfway through our month. And this month, March, we've been focusing on self-worth. So we've talked about self-worth every day for the last 19 days. So how to get self-worth, how to keep self-worth, and what the point of it is. So what you can do to develop it within yourself, and what you can do to maintain it once you've got it. Self-worth development can be quite hard, because you're starting to look at your life in a way that you never have before. You're looking a little deeper than the surface. You're trying to see what is working for you, what's not, and how you could develop things within your life for your greater good so that you can become the best version of you possible. So whenever you do that, things can be brought up, like things that you notice that you constantly do, that you keep picking the wrong relationships, you keep picking the wrong job, you keep spending money on things that you don't need or that are of no use to you really, or you're just not keeping track of your money and wondering why you're broke at the end of the month. So it can be hard in that because you're focusing on stuff we tend to ignore because we don't want to know how bad things actually are. But not wanting to know how bad things are doesn't give you the opportunity to find out how good things are as well. Whenever I first started learning about myself and getting into what I wanted to do, which initially was be a Kung Fu instructor, I had a lot of people tell me that that wouldn't work, that that was a terrible idea and that I had a good job and I should keep that. But I wasn't happy in my job and I didn't like what I was doing at all, so to me it was worth the risk. And those people that told me that it wouldn't work, I was able to just block them out and focus on what I wanted for me. And in saying that, since I've started doing this, most of the people that told me this wouldn't work have actually come to me for advice or sent me messages to say how well I'm doing or something like that. So you'll notice that even the people that have your best interests at heart, they won't see your goal the way you see it. So they won't necessarily see how this could be something that you could potentially make a living out of, or that you can change your life by going a different route. So whenever I was getting into this, I flew over to London to meet one of my heroes, Eric Thomas, who's known as the hip hop preacher. If you look him up online, there's loads of stuff of him speaking, but I went to see him in London. And he told a story that's really stuck with me. I'm going to tell you this story now, so I haven't really delved much into storytelling, but this is something that I think about a lot. So once upon a time, there was a king, and he was on his deathbed. This king had 3 sons, and out the window you could just see a vast array of land. He owned everything. There was castles and waterfalls and fields and food and just acres and acres of land. He had to work out who was going to become the next king. So he wanted someone that was smart, versatile, and someone that could really think on their feet. Someone that would have passion and someone that would be able to look after the people in his kingdom as well as the ground in his kingdom. So he told them to look out the window at all the land that they could see. So as far as the eye could see, that was all theirs. And he told them that he was going to set them a task. And the task was they had to fill as much space in the grand hall as they possibly could. So the oldest son went away and he brought a load of hay. He got loads of hay and he filled the room as much as he could, and whenever they looked at it, there was still space. There was still space for more hay to go in, or he could have put some sand or marbles or something like that. So there was still space. But he had filled it the right bit. Then the second son came along and he plugged up as much holes as he could and filled it with water. But the water still leaked out of wee cracks in the windows and just cracks onto the door. So he filled it the right bit, but it still wasn't as full as it possibly could be. And then the youngest son came along, the son that no one really thought was going to do anything useful. And when he arrived, he didn't have any hay with him or water or anything like that. He just was standing with a box of matches. And he went into the room, and he closed all of the drapes in the room so it was pitch black, and he lit a match, and it filled the entire room with light. So in that one action, that little action of striking the match, filled the entire room, so he became the next king. So the thing I like about that story is he was the underdog. He was the one that no one thought was going to do anything useful. And by thinking a little differently than everyone else, he was able to see the light in the darkness, and he was able to light up the entire room, getting him to his goal of becoming king. So what I like about that story is that the youngest son was the guy that no one thought was going to be able to get anywhere or do anything. He landed with nothing, only a box of matches, so they figured with the skill set that he had and with the things that he had brought with him, he wasn't going to do anything useful. but with thinking slightly differently and not letting the doubt from other people get in, he was able to come up with a plan that no one else had. And his plan was to fill the room with light. So even that message alone, the positive message of being able to fill, even in the darkness, the smallest tiny bit of light can turn into something amazing. So that little strike of the match, that little bit of light, was the step that made him king of this vast land. So hopefully he's liked that story, and you can see where I'm coming from when I talk about it. It's something I hold on to whenever anyone tells me if I make a new venture and they tell me that this mightn't be a good idea and it mightn't exactly work for me. Remember, whenever you're building your own self-worth, or you have a goal or something that you want to achieve, remember, nobody else will care about your dream or yourself as much as you should. Nobody will want it as bad as you. Nobody else is going to be willing to put in the sacrifice and the effort to get you to where you want to be, aside from you. Focus on yourself, build your worth, love yourself, love your life, and remember, limitation is a mirage. You can do and be whatever it is in life you want.